2020. Calling to order the Light Advisory Commission meeting for November 17th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Jeff Carey,
Here.
Randy Lewis,
Here.
Isaiah Johnston,
Here.
Aaron Del Stargard is absent or excused.
Okay. So that will mean that we don't have a quorum, so we can discuss, deliberate on things, but we cannot vote, approve or disapprove. Okay, so approval of the minutes. Any questions on the minutes?
Are there extra minutes on the over there? Oh, okay.
You say have none over there?
I don't have any from the last meeting.
I gave you copies.
All right.
So, okay, we'll move on and approval of changes by the agenda by the commissioners. The only addition I would have is a discussion about the hopefully a 5-minute discussion or less of the October 20th meeting that we had.
Special.
Yeah, yeah, the one we had in the afternoon.
Okay.
If so, passing the agenda, since we can't vote on that either, right?
We're gonna talk about it in staff updates.
Well, not about the October 20th, but it sounds like there's.
We just want an update of what's happening, or
I can leave it at that. Make it short. It's actually more, but I get the drift and yeah, that's fine. So, but okay, back to. So can we amend things even though we don't have a quorum?
yeah, you can do it under committee and staff updates.
Okay. Is recommending members okay with that?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, conflicts of interest.
Nope.
None for me either. Okay, next meeting, December 15th, 2025 at 6 p.m. Okay. Anything special we need to know on that one?
Well, it will be the public hearing for that rezone that was supposed to be tonight, but since you don't have one.
Okay,
Yeah, so the plan is once we get there, we will officially, like administratively move the public hearing for the rezone.
Right.
To the next meeting. But if you guys want to talk about anything, if you had a question or a comment, concern, something, you can definitely bring that to our attention now and we
Yeah.
can fix it, update it, figure it out before the next meeting.
okay,
Does that include the Allen stuff or is that different?
That's a workshop, so we'll do that as
So
well.
both of them will do. Next time.
okay. Thank you. So I guess any other staff updates or community updates?
So staff briefed the BOCC this morning, on the comprehensive plan, public hearing for a comprehensive plan. As well as giving, the BOCC your last comment letter, with staff responses.
Okay.
So they have that plus, an attachment of, work that Public Works provided to me just recently. So they have that, they have our responses and, they didn't really say anything about it yet. I don't know if they got a lot of time to look over it yet. But they did approve, the notice to go on the agenda on the 25th. For public hearing on the 16th of December.
Yes.
And so they may have additional comments before then.
Yeah, that's okay, got it. Anything else?
The only other thing is, depending on how tonight goes, agenda for December. The rezone, possibly public hearing for this, we'll see, depends on what we get through tonight.
Okay.
I can also give a quick update on membership. So we did do a public notice that we have available positions. We did receive one application. I think last time we told you 2. It was just one. They are currently scheduled for an interview on December 2nd. So after that interview, if the board approves them, they'll be joining us, and if not, we'll be waiting for more people.
Okay. I know, it seems like there's two different dates on my, term.
Yes.
And if we look into that,
I did look into it and I figured out the correct date, so I have it, I will let you know what it is.
okay, great. Okay, other business. Discussion about new chairperson. Well, you can't vote on it even if we want, and there's. Like it was pointed out, this meeting and one more meeting, so I have no problem being vice chair. For these two meetings and.
The bylaws say that we vote for it in
Yeah,
January.
Yeah, right.
So it was kind of just a discussion if you guys had wanted to vote tonight, we didn't really care. But we can wait until January and Jeff can be our vice chair until then, or
Yeah,
we can
Yeah.
vote in December and he can go through a whole year plus.
I mean, without the vote, that's kind of the way that it runs anyway,
Yeah.
so
Right.
just keep it
Yeah,
the way that. it
there's
is.
only one more.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and then the one item that I brought up as far as other business. When we had our meeting, did anybody, did the board get back to either staff or I guess back to staff saying anything about some of the things? Because I did send them a copy of what they, what they'd asked me to, both the cap facilities as well as
Well, I don't have Kel here to answer if she got something. The only thing, like I said before, is that I gave responses to your last. The last letter that was given for the September 15th.
Right.
PAC hearing.
Okay,
So they did get my responses on that. Yeah, without Kel being here, I don't believe so, but I
Yeah.
can't say for sure because Kel's not here, so.
yeah, there was a number of points, so you just. From my standpoint, I just want to know, if we're going left, going right, going straight, which. I have a desire, which I should do, but it's like, okay, what the board decide, so. Okay, thank you. Okay, we come up to public comment. This portion of the public comment is for topics not on the agenda. We have a public hearing on a rezone, will be coming up next, and then a workshop on the sub-area plan. So if you have something of public comment to present, that you want to present to the PAC, that's not related to those two items. Now's your turn, now's your time, I should say.
Okay. Does anybody else? Speak? All right. You want me to get up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I thought that this was, that maybe there's changes in the wind, on the Allen's sub-area plan review, and that's why I came tonight.
Greg, could you state your name?
Yes, my name is Barry Betzinger. I'm from Allen. And, anyway, lived there a lot of years. My wife's lived there almost her whole life. Anyway, of course, we've seen a lot of changes out in Allen. And, so I want to bring up a couple of things, specifically on a couple of, county streets. And I also want to listen to any changes that are being projected for rezoning of what areas and, what way that's gonna go.
Sure.
Or what area, so that's what I'm interested right now. I think, the other two guys that came with me are interested in a couple of the same things. First of all, the, area of, we live right on Drum Street, right across from the park. There is a county road that comes down from Highway 3 right next to the little historic church. And there's the speed limit there is 10 miles an hour, and that's posted. And it's not adhered to, absolutely. Especially when there's workers that come in. It is just, furiously coming down the street. They park wherever they want and they just run out on the dock with their long lenses. They want to see the orcas. I talked to Randy Netherland one time about a possible speed bump or something to slow these cars down. There's a lot of kids in the park, and especially in the summertime. There's a lot of people, period. You know, we enjoy our park. I don't want anybody to get hurt there. So anyway, I don't know what can be done, if anything. The reason Randy said that you couldn't put in any speed bumps, even nice ones that, you know, you could still go over at 20 miles an hour, I guess, but something to deter the people from going fast. Anyway, he said, well, because if a car goes over a speed bump on the street, which is a county street, they could sue us if they bottomed out and you know, sheared you know, a nut out their oil pan or whatever, and their car ran out of oil. And, you know, that's basically the answer I got. Boy, I lived in San Francisco with some of those steep streets and then down to flat. And you know, it can happen, but you know, it's just a danger to most people. My wife walks her dog back and forth across that street all the time. And you know, there's people with boats, you know, it's just, you know, pretty much they spin their tires out because they can get in the gravel of the parking lot and spin their tires out, and they just spin the tires going up the road. And so it's mayhem, and we live right on that road, so we see all this. You don't see it if you don't live right around there. So in terms of population, there's only my wife and I and her son that live on the street pretty much. Ernie's just down the way a little bit, and has a little old alley that is a right of way that goes down to his cabins along the waterfront there. So that's one point. You know, obviously, a lot of people go 10 miles an hour, but there's an awful lot of people, at least half or more, that exceed that 10 miles an hour. That's pretty slow. I'm sick and I can almost run 10 miles an hour. So, you know, it's one of those things that need to be looked at before something bad happens with someone. And the Allen area is growing all the time, you know. Okay, the second thing I have is a little more.
You can,
We have 3 minutes.
yeah.
We have like 3 minutes for
Okay.
for public comment, but if you,
Oh, I'm sorry, I did.
yeah,
Okay, it's like the port then.
it's kind of like a,
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, good. The second one, I should be able to cover pretty quickly. Wainwright Street going south from Lakeland Drive, going up the hill. From a certain point, which is right around the driveway to the rest home up on the hill, was paid for and had installed by our church when we built our church there in 1995, and it's St. Hugh Episcopal Church. Okay. Since that time, there's been a lot more building along the street, past that point and up to that point. And then there's now a trailer community that's up on the hill a little ways there. And the road is in really bad shape. And I've gone out there with another guy and filled in holes. I mean, we're talking holes with concrete, just to try and keep our own parishioners that come there every week and during the week from, you know, ruining their tires or whatever. And now the county obviously has granted okays for the houses that go up there. I'm sure they were built under permits. I don't know what happened with the trailer park, but obviously it was land that was there that somebody's making some money off of. And I know you guys probably had to, well, the county had to approve it at some point. So we're just asking for some help, and we're willing to pitch in some money, but we're asking for help or to make that county road come up to our property line where the last of the houses end. Like when that last house was built up there, it had cement trucks all over on that street. They went into our parking lot and destroyed areas in our parking lot. You know, it's not going to get any better. And we are There's about 25 to 30 people every Sunday, and we can't raise enough money to fix that part of the street. And we're asking for help from the county to see what can be done. Don't know if you can turn it into a county road the rest of the way or not. There can be easements in there. There's nothing that's real close to the street. So anyway, if you look into it, and you can just talk to me sometime.
I know a little story about that.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Thank you for it.
yeah, thanks.
Anybody else in the audience? Anybody on Zoom? It doesn't look like anybody. It's the one.
So, hi, I'm here. I'm Stan Smelser. I'm just part of the Allen community. I've been my family owns the property right at the bottom of Lakeland Drive and Highway 3, where the wood carving shop is. I'm just here just to listen in, see what great things we're gonna do to this community. Just ready to listen in and see what's going on.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? If seeing none on Zoom and seeing none in the audience, we'll proceed to the public hearing. So,
So, yeah, we don't really have a staff report or anything, it's what you've already seen.
yeah,
We'll get
Okay.
back to it next month, but then if you had a
Sure.
specific comment or question, we can relay that to Kel and get back to you on it.
Anybody? You have anything? I have a couple things.
This is about Allen, right?
No,
This is the reason.
Oh, the zoning, okay, sorry, go ahead. I don't have any, I thought the staff recommendations were reasonable, but.
I only have a couple of observations. One is, I noticed in the application, there are a number of things that weren't answered. Usually they put not applicable or things like that to,
On the Ziba,
yes.
These are the rezone criteria.
Yeah, like on their page 7 of 15, there was a number of things that usually we just say not applicable or something.
and they're just blank.
They're just blank.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'm totally with one, but it was different than we've done in the past.
Yeah.
Second thing is, and I don't have an issue with this, it's just that it might be a mapping error, but, you know, where it asks somewhere here about, political area recharge. I think I marked it. Oh, yeah. Like on page 10 of 15. No, that's, yeah. Number, whatever it is, H. Item H on that page. The county's GIS map shows there's a critical area, recharge area underneath. So I don't know. You know. When we say it's, when we answer no. Yeah, like I said, I don't have an issue with it, because I mean, there's lots of items on top of the recharge. And as far as being residential, obviously, it's probably not gonna be an issue about contamination or aquifer. But I saw that, I said, okay, it should be answered yes, and then followed by text. Or is it an error in the GIS?
Okay.
Because that's not the first time, I've seen errors.
Yeah.
On the GIS.
We will look at that.
And then. So when they rezone to residential. Does this affect any? Question that comes to my mind is, does this affect any of the commercial ones on their setbacks? To the properties, if in other words. It didn't look like it on the map. But I just asked the question.
May I comment on that?
This is a question for the commission to the board, and then we'll take, it's a public hearing, so we'll take public comment here in a second.
I'll have to ask Kelly.
Okay.
I can-
Other than that, that's the only three that I have related to it. Obviously, to me, it fill all the blanks otherwise, so.
I'm good.
Okay, okay. We'll open up for public comment on this result. Sounds like you got.
My name is Leslie Smith. And I'm the owner of that property that we're talking about, I believe.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why,
I should probably read the whole parcel numbers and all that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's okay. What had happened was my parents had died within the last 2 years. And the way Dad built the house and everything, I had to put in a 6-bedroom septic tank
Right,
to accommodate the house and the 2 apartments. And so the building department told me, in order to make this work properly, I need to have the house, the property that the house is on, and the back 2 empty lots. It only has a picnic area on one of them.
Right.
And it made that all into one, which was make it over 2 acres. And that way, they would accept the building, allowing the septic system to be there for 6.
Okay.
And I own the house next to it. I own all 4. So anyway, so now it's only 2 properties.
Okay.
And so on this one side of me, I have Hiawatha. And then on the other side, I have a house and then the mini storage. And behind that is residential. So when my dad short platted that years ago, he made it into, the county changed it to commercial. So I'm requesting that it be changed back to residential, because that's all it is. I'm not allowed to build on anything. I'm not gonna build anything. I got enough to take care of. So that's all I have to say about that, if that answers anybody's questions. I don't know what the GSI is.
oh, the geographic information system is a mapping system of counties where they map roads, parcels, elevation. You know, floodplains, all kinds of things.
Now, there's nothing there but just
No, I'm,
water puddles.
but, and, I mean, where I am on Island Lake.
Mhm.
I sit on the same aquifer.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's why I say I have no issue with it, I just. You know, mainly saying, okay, is this mapping correct, and if it is, fine, you know, just explain what, you know. What, but being residential, like I said, usually it's commercial that trigger issues there.
So that's, my dad did have a business at the time that he short platted it. He did the installation of satellites. That was back in the
Yeah.
80s, so
Right,
that's. I'm
Okay.
left with all of the drama. Anyway, so that's all I have to say.
thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else in the public have any comments on the rezone? Anybody on Zoom? Doesn't appear. Okay. Okay, as it was mentioned earlier, we can't vote on this, but at least now staff has any of our questions and they're gonna reschedule the next meeting. Hopefully have a forum for that meeting.
Can I mention something to the lady real quick? The GIS, are you aware you can go in on the county website and bring up are you aware of all that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Didn't sound like it, so, okay. Thanks.
Well, I'm a little nervous here.
No, that's cool, thank you.
When's the next meeting then to vote on it?
December
15th, okay.
Thanks for letting me
Thank
do
you.
that.
Okay, nothing else from this members? Okay, then we'll proceed to the work session. The draft Allen Suburban plan. I guess staff first and
Okay, Alan said area plan review. So. Hopefully I don't lose my voice. Okay. So, the effort, so during our comp plan update, in our scope of work for our consultants, we also asked them to look at the Allen UGA. The Belfair UGA had been looked at recently in 2022 when they did their Davis Belfair EIS and planned action ordinance. And then Shelton, they had some conversations with the city of Shelton, and they were looking at the Shelton UGA plan and doing work with that. So we wanted to concentrate on a refresh with the Allen sub-area plan. And originally, when we were, when staff was going forward with the review, our intention was to look for feedback on zoning and development regulations, because over the years, we have gotten several rezone requests, so that, you know, that tells us something about the zoning that's in place. You know, we have heard some issues from developers about developing there. And in the past, and we wanted to go out to the community and see if there was any other issues on zoning and development regulations that we hadn't heard of. But so this update though is not meant to be a replication of the 2006 plan effort, which that plan is a lot more heavy on the historical context, and the environmental factors are explained in a lot of detail in that plan. It's a little bit heavier in policy, and probably includes facility information that most likely there could be some outdated information regarding facilities there. But this minor refresh, we were looking at readdressing the community vision and seeing how, you know, after almost 20 years, that has changed. Issues trying to develop, like I said, in Allen, obviously we've seen those from zoning requests. And then areas that the community would like to see additional commercial development, or areas where they just don't think it's feasible for that kind of development. Now, I know there were some neighbors that pointed out that they didn't get a mailing, but our mailing was just a special mailing to people who had properties that had a commercial or industrial zoning, or had a land use that was commercial land use. And we were reaching out to those people because, you know, that was the zoning that we're kind of concerned with, what's not working in that area, particularly right now. We did also put an ad in the North Bay Review, and did a news release, so hopefully that got a few more people too. So if there are some people that are wondering why they didn't get mailing, it's because we couldn't mail the entire community at the time. So and that's the and then so community forum and listening session in February of this year. We met at the Port of Allen. And some of the questions posed on that last slide were asked at the meeting. Some of the takeaways from the meeting were that the community seemed like the community, at least the members that came to that meeting, were ready to discuss zoning and development regulation changes. They were most concerned around traffic and pedestrian access, development and water quality, infrastructure improvements, and the expansion of that infrastructure, recreation opportunities, upgrades to the Allen Park there, and possible pocket parks, community parks. Being a housing hub rather than a commercial hub, but still supporting the local entrepreneurs, while still keeping that village type setting. And so that draft that you have before you, and that's on the website available for the public, most of the changes in there are regarding a revised vision statement and new recommendation. Those recommendations are based on the feedback we got at that meeting, and also with the survey we had a paper survey at the meeting and we followed that up with online to make that available for, I think it was a week and a half, 2 weeks online. And then, with recommendations, there's also some, strategies, for implementation as well in this plan. So definitely not a replication of the 2005 plans, but trying to address some issues regarding they're kind of ongoing issues. I know from the 2006 plan, some of the similar issues are still being heard today. So so planning context. So anything that happens in this sub-area plan obviously informs our land use map. Capital facilities planning as well. Right now, Public Works is in the process of updating the North Bay East Inlet Sewer System Plan. And the comp plan update works in conjunction with that. So our population projections for help to inform that sewer plan. And then, of course, supporting our countywide policy, countywide planning policy update, and account comp plan update. And also some of the recommendations and strategies help to support the Peninsula Regional Transportation Planning Organization. There's more of a focus on transportation recommendations. I think that our consultant really focused on, they heard a lot of issues with, pedestrian crossings, speed, just trying to get out of, your stops at Lakeland Drive and then the Y at North Bay and Highway 3, as well as Homestead. So a lot of issues around that, but they focused on that with this update. Some of the demographic and growth trend information. So for 2023, the information that we have from our consultant says there's 2,327 residents in the Allen UGA. And then we have projections are for 2045 with our preferred alternative sees an additional 2,233 people, and that would translate into 939 additional housing. That would be 13% of that housing for the county for that time period, so 2025 to 2045. Like I mentioned before, focus was transportation. Obviously the congestion, safety and lack of pedestrian crossing, visual cues, limited alternative access routes. So we had people talk about the two routes out of the Lakeland village area in Homestead and Lakeland Drive. And then our consultants went and did some road counts, and so they did some road counts, and you can see there we have a level of service of C, which is troublesome for Lakeland Drive and North Bay Road. Homestead Drive didn't meet that quite yet, so the first two there are definitely in need of some mitigation eventually here. And then the majority of the rest of the plan starts to talk about recommendations. I'm going to go through a few of them here, and then I don't know how the PAC wants to work it, if they want to do public comment again or go into some of the comments that they provided staff. We can do that as well. But some of the recommendations, they divided it up into categories. So you have land use and housing, transportation and circulation, and there's parks and then open space, and there's a couple more as well. For land use and housing, one of the one of the suggestions that we gave, our consultant was simplifying the zoning district designations. There's currently overlays, that just make the code a little bit more complicated than need be. And the solution, recommended solution is to get rid of the overlays and use a special use permit process for those additional uses that would be allowed in an overlay. And that is done in other parts of our code and welfare as well. Then, and I want to remind people too that these recommendations are coming, so additional recommendations are coming from our consultant, not necessarily all from staff. So, you know, I mean, if we find something that we think is not gonna work or is inappropriate, obviously you'll have time to revise that. Another recommendation was identifying opportunity sites and infill areas in communities. So that would be mapping sites with opportunity for development, ones that have infrastructure access, compatibility with surrounding uses, and supports community needs. And we also talked about development incentives or streamlined permitting for those particular types of projects. And then the next recommendation was identifying mixed use centers, residential clusters, and employment zones. Transportation, obviously improvements to SR3 in Lakeland, and then SR3 in North Bay and Wade Street there. Safety improvements at the Great View at the south end and Mason Benson Road. And then of course improved pedestrian and bicycle safety and transit accessibility. Infrastructure and utilities. So of course, I mean, utility planning and growth projection coordination, and that's what they're trying to do right now with the plan numbers and the web-based sewer system. We had input about emergency access and evacuation. And then addressing stormwater and runoff impacts. And mapping infrastructure capacity constraint. Community character. We got feedback that though the community is interested in helping you know, people with obviously businesses in town, they still want to keep that small village town feel. And a consultant is suggesting the design guidelines, adaptive reuse and context infill. And then there were people that were talking about the oyster house in the maritime history of Allen and that being important to keep within the community. Open space and recreation. Obviously, our cross plan, I mean, funding is hard for trails and recreation. And grant funding is very important for that. It would be in the same case for Helen. There was talk about improvements to the playground at the Ravel there, and exploring that idea of pocket parks in the community. And another suggestion was repurposing surplus land for community use and partnering with local groups and events for programming. So there's that list of recommendations from our consultant in there, and then they went through those recommendations and looked at you know, what timeframes they thought were applicable for implementation, whether it was short range, medium, or long term, and what specific strategies could help us meet those recommendations. So I'm very much open to if we see any issues with those recommendations or strategies, or if we have additional recommendations. And then, you know, the most important part, how do we fund all those recommendations? So, capital improvement program. Obviously, our projects, we have our 6-year capital improvement program. And then, like I said before, grants and state programs. Partnering with the port, utility providers, and then another one that comes up very often is impact fees and developer contribution. So I'm going to end it there, and then I will leave it to our government. They want to, you guys want to take comment and talk about it.
Well, we'll probably follow the agenda, with questions for staff. I'll start there and we'll get some answer or, some idea, and then we'll public comments, testimony. And then back to PAC, going down through a little bit more, granular through it, and then like you said, we won't make a decision on it tonight, but or vote on it tonight, but at least I'll give you some, hopefully give some ideas. So, I'll start across the table, questions for staff.
It seems like Mason, Benson and Grapeview are quite a bit south of Allen. Just curious why that was included.
I think some of the, from what I read from the transportation element, some of the projects that would occur in Allen would affect that south end of the Grapeview loop there. And I'm not sure about Mason Benson, because that is quite a ways further.
I have a point.
Yes.
One issue, and backing up, I was involved heavily in the original plan of 2006, and also have done rezones in the flat and things like that. So I got intimately aware of a lot of opportunities. One of the issues, the reason a lot of times Grapeview gets included in some of the Allen stuff, is because the post office makes deliveries up to almost the Grapeview post office.
Oh,
So a lot of addresses will come in that way, saying, even though they're a mile from Grapeview, will be the Allen address.
okay.
So that's one area, one issue that comes up. At Mason Lake, I don't know that one, but as far as coming down,
I assume somebody had a reason.
I know
Couldn't think of one.
that's one issue
Yeah.
that stands up. So,
And
go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, the one thing they seem to talk about a lot, and when I drive through once in a while, is it's like the community's divided by a main drag, causes a lot of issues. But I don't know. I'm sure they talked about it forever. Put in a traffic light or something. I don't know.
They've talked about a long time.
Oh yeah, I've no doubt. But it seems like if I'm living, it seems like most people live on the non-water side, but a lot of like the park and a lot of things are on the water side, which
Right.
I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But
No,
it seems like kind of funky because if you're on the residential side, want to get over there, that's kind of funky. People, like you were saying, people seem to be going through pretty quick. And for me, it's like a conscious effort to slow down, because you're still on the main drag, and you've been driving 50, 60 miles an hour on that road coming up from Shelton. So
it's kind of why they have the two speed signs at the both ends of town, trying to slow it down. Because years ago I did we had a beautification committee, had plants on the poles, and it can get kind of hair raising during the water traffic. There was, even when you pulled off, it was just, traffic was moving faster than the speed limit. Even this is where it's 35, but they're going faster.
it's good you have those, because I go by and oh wait, I got to slow down. I'm going through.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Not knowing much about how this stuff works, if I was living there, I'd wonder why we don't have a stoplight on either end or something. I don't know. Maybe it's financial. I don't know.
Traffic related mostly.
I'm sorry.
I think it's traffic related mostly. That would be.
That and funding.
Well, yeah, I mean, but Yes, that's
Yeah.
very true, but that's also,
I mean, traffic.
Just volume percent.
yeah, just the amount of traffic that goes through there.
Oh, so see if they put a traffic light in, things will back up.
I think it would exponentially. No,
There's,
kidding?
there's two,
That's,
It's a real horrible situation. You live there, you can't get across the road, you can't turn, you can't wait, you have to come up and stop. We need either a roundabout or a stoplight. And then the cruising speed, I think 35 miles an hour is too fast. You should drop it down to 25.
yeah,
You got people working right on the street.
some people have to turn out of wherever they are, Bose or whatever, and sometimes, almost back into the traffic.
Yeah, they have to
trying
back
have
out to get out.
parking area.
Is that like the general community opinion that
Yeah, yes.
you should put in the,
You know what I think you should do? You're gonna go up there and sit there for 4 hours and see what's going on. And then you can really find out the day.
when I served on the tip cap a number of years back. That's actually what I did with 106 and Highway 3. I just parked them on the driveways up the hill. And then spent 30 minutes just watching how, because people were complaining about how the light was working or not. It actually turned out, the problem wasn't the light. The problem was us, the drivers. I can't even begin to explain it, but it's like. The light was actually, they had it programmed well enough that it was trying to adapt.
Mhm.
And handle the problem. The problem was how people would make the turns and stop traffic certain points, which would create a blank, and then the traffic light would switch. And not that much traffic had gotten through yet. And, that was one of many opportunities. Also, tip cap, I don't know where the project is now, but talked about putting a roundabout there at Lakeland Drive and Highway 3, and also at North Bay Road and Highway 3. Just as a question, there were some numbers there, and the one that was at North Bay seemed to really take off on the numbers. In other words, I'm curious about that because the state had proposed doing one there at Highway 3 in Pickering. Just once you get past the flat there before you start going up the hill. And so it's sloped much like that intersection is there as far as slope. There's some other complications as far as like Wade Street coming into it, which would be, residential, and then the county road coming the other way and the state highways this way, but it was, where'd that number come from? Is that from Public Works or from?
I'd have to follow up with Loretta and see.
Yeah, because it was obviously more expensive than to do the one there at Lakeland Drive and Highway 3, but it wasn't that, at least, of course, it's 7 years ago, but it was, something around 3 or 4 back then. Okay.
Are we gonna get to comment on
Yep.
any of this
Yeah.
after?
Wait just a minute.
My question would be, what was the nature of most of those rezones? It was,
Most of the reasons, I believe, the ones that Kel's done and the ones I've done is the mix, or no, village commercial to. One of just the residential,
just residential.
just residential,
And not in the opposite direction.
No,
not that
no,
I've.
that one I know. No, they're good all that way.
so that. So. Did you have another question?
No.
Oh. I was at that meeting, that was back in February.
Yeah.
Man, time flies. And a lot of what's in your recommendations, I believe the consultant was there too. Was that driven by like the community desires and expressed?
Taken from the forum and the survey.
Okay,
That's FCJ translating what the feedback that they got from the forum, and also, their, typical planning recommendation. Doesn't mean they're all done with it.
did the community make recommendations or opinions on? you know, the problem associated with the main drag through the middle of town or.
Um. Most, I mean, the feedback that we got on the main drag was the pedestrian safety.
Right,
and-
Right, yeah,
And the wanting roundabout.
okay.
Yeah.
Question, on the infill, when, because I noticed it was used like in residential, also in commercial,
Mhm.
and I'm very familiar with the, the lots and what's up there,
Mhm.
and I mean, there's a gap in the old plat, but that's gradually as developers put the bill, putting infrastructure in. That's gradually in one section getting filled up, the other one to the south hasn't. And that was zoned more for, like apartments, multifamily dwellings and things like that, and that just has not taken off
Mhm.
in that plat.
Mhm.
And all the proposals that I've seen, like, the one off of Masterson, close to Wheelwright, and then the other one years ago, at the end of Masterson, up on the hill. Almost all those at best were townhouses, you know, duplex, maybe, but not anything with, 10, 20 dwellings to a structure.
Mhm.
And so, when we laid that out, and then went through the whole process and what have you, was to try to, give some area in Allen to have apartments if somebody wanted to do it. The problem, and those lots were big, that allowed that to occur. They were like, 2, 3 acre or better type lots. But that never, I mean, there's been parcels in there for sale for years,
Mhm.
so. But, so is the infilling thinking in there,
It is, so this plan doesn't even, I mean, it doesn't identify it, that would be, that's a recommendation that. The county would then, perform, another exercise to identify those lots, so. That's not even, so they're not identified in this plan, that would be a recommendation for the county to actually to invest in identify those lots.
yeah, my observation,
Mhm.
we got other problems.
Yeah.
But that's, another, we can debate that one. But then, okay, so the infilling was like talking about up in Lakeland.
Well,
Where the golf course and all this kind of stuff.
I don't think that the main focus was up in that area for the infill lots.
Okay.
Based on how they
Okay.
drafted this, yeah.
Just years ago, somebody brought up the idea that, well, we can get rid of the golf course and.
I don't think. It was
No, it wasn't copy there, but I'm just saying, I remember going through that, okay. Another question, there was a section here about surplus land, like for the parks or recreational use or whatever. Again, was that like, you had to be identified type thing?
But yeah, because I have no idea.
Because there's not really,
It's like, is there?
no, I mean, when you say surplus, I mean, are we talking private or government?
What do you think?
Yeah, and the only thing that's a little weird is that when you look at the acreage, to the different zones. There's a transportation zone that says like it's 102 or some acres.
Mhm.
There's a coding error in the assessor's office, and maybe it's just how they do it. But all that run of the Tacoma City Light is included in that transportation utility, acreage.
Definitely.
And the Tacoma City Light has no desire. I mean, different parties that worked with them, even the counties worked with them. And their easements are crazy tough.
Mhm.
I mean, there's clawback agreements and all kinds of things in their easements. So. Okay, anyway, I'm just saying, again, I have a little bit of background because when we worked water rights. We were looking at acreage to apply it and places to apply it and where, either commercial or residential would occur. to one level or another to the given zoning. And there wasn't much government land in there, you know. So. Okay. Anybody else questions? Oh. Okay, so we're looking at including this as kind of a sub-plan within a comprehensive plan. Or is
It's
it,
a standalone, it's a standalone.
okay, so.
It's, we're doing it as part of the process, but it's a
Okay,
standalone.
so would it be referenced just like we're doing with parks?
No, it's not referenced.
Okay,
I mean, there's parts of the comp plan that does.
No, I get
reference,
that.
But not like the part, it's not gonna be referenced like the parts like the health and human services.
okay. Where I'm going is this is, like Belfair had the 2022 EIS,
Mhm.
which had a whole bunch of factors and all kinds of things dealing with population, land use and all this kind of thing. Should that be handled the same way as we're doing with Allen?
It's not it. What do you mean to the same?
Well, I mean, there was, like, in Allen, we're putting this sub-area planning.
Mhm.
Isn't in effect, the Belfair EIS a sub-plan?
Yeah, well,
And if you
the,
don't have.
the
answer
EIS,
to-
the EIS and plan action ordinance did inform the update of the welfare UGA plan, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
So the comp plan update does inform the. Allen criteria.
yeah, maybe look at the, brought to my mind a few more times. I just, to me, it seems like we're doing one, a subsection for Allen, or a UGA. Do we do, it's both UGA, to appear. The next question would go, has there ever been a sub-area plan for Shelton? With this,
I mean, they have a. They have a UGA code.
if you don't know or whatever, that's fine, I mean.
Larry's code for it, I would say the city has its own too, so like.
Yeah.
It's
But I'm saying it's county, it's parts of the county controls,
Mhm.
for permitting and things like this. I mean, we. Or just has never arisen to the need yet.
Well, we were actually counting on more of the city for updates to that because we've had some discussions with them earlier about trying to make sure that the UGA code development
Yeah,
code matches up with the cities as well as possible, because of course they can be, managed. You want to make sure code is very similar. So we were relying on them for any updates to the UGA development code, but we may have to make them anyways, because with the new GMA legislation updates.
Right.
There are some updates to the UGA, what's required in the UGAs, like ADUs.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we have to allow like 2 ADUs in the urban growth area, so we have to make sure that work gets done, as well as allowing different types of housing. So all that language, we're gonna have to make sure is updated in the
Sure.
Shelton UGA plan too. So if the city doesn't do it, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
So.
Always to my same thing. The numbers in the Allen sub-area have to eventually reconcile between the sections in the big comp plan, and they don't yet. They're close. But they're,
What numbers are we referring to?
like the population and dwelling units, like if you look at land use. But
So. The numbers in the tables and the comp plan.
right,
And this in the sub area plan.
Right. So like, I think it's table like 310,
Mhm.
and that brings me to a different thing. I'm having trouble staying, it's in sequence because there's no revisions to these different versions of the comp plan, the drafts. That's driving me, I mean, personally, it's hard for me to keep them straight,
Mhm.
because, I'm kind of keeping it straight by date. And just give a date to each one that I'm working with, but like I noticed in the briefing, that comp plan that's in there, that draft,
Mhm.
it has some tables that we have not looked at.
Yes. And those tables are in response to comments that we got from agencies.
No, I get it, but it's like, okay,
And I mean, that's gonna happen even after the PAC too, is that we're gonna get comments, we're gonna get comments from the Department of Commerce. Saying, hey, well, we've reviewed it and we think you need to update this or this or this, so it's, I mean.
so our environment, the PAC's involvement,
Mhm.
okay, so we released it, we voted on it, do we see it again? I mean, as far as I mean. I mean, obviously you can look at it again, but I'm saying as far as the normal process, once we've seen it, even though it's getting modified along the way, do we ever see it again? In the process or?
Well, the BOCC is setting the hearing, so I mean, they could possibly at the hearing remand it back to the PAC.
Okay, that way, okay.
So, cause yeah, they'd have to, that's where they would have to take.
So once we've seen it, once we've seen it
Mhm.
and approved it at that moment in time,
Mhm.
it may change, there may be a whole different number scheme.
We can get comments from the 60-day
Okay.
notice period. And we have to address those.
So our approval is like, so to speak, a moment in time.
It's like a pre-approval. I mean, you may have recommendations though that, other state agencies.
Sure, but I'm saying, but the normal course, I'm talking about. The
Yes.
normal, as far as this commission's going.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, there's a point in time, we look, bang, this is what we said, da da da.
Yeah.
It may get all kinds of whole new things, but it's no longer an loop unless
Unless they can
board.
prevent it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I will tie these together and then send it to staff, and then you can reconcile and or tell me, hey, I missed it,
Okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
I won't belabor the point. It seemed like they weren't matching up all the way across, so. Okay, any other questions for staff? Any from Isaiah?
Have you got any comments on this vision statement?
On the vision statement to
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one.
yeah. So,
I didn't receive any, did you receive any other? I didn't receive any from the community after this was published.
Personally, I was kind of more like, leave the old and amend a few set points that were new brought in, That was kind of my view.
Mhm.
But- I got detailed things, but until we really can, read it out. Amongst us 4 or 5.
mhm.
Hopefully we'll have 5 next time.
So,
There's some inconsistency too with the sewer. The numbers got updated, I saw that in the draft. But now they definitely don't match what's. Like the numbers there. I mean. They don't match, in other words, because the way Public Works is looking at it is there's no need to update the plan yet. Because it's not crossing the threshold. The problem is if there's actually 930 projected. And there's only 35,000 gallons capacity between now and where they say. That's 181 homes. I'm taking the total, the 277 number that they have for, affluent. and dividing across the 1,435 connections they have. That was how I'm figuring out, water usage, sewage usage. So it's just not, it's not really reconciling well. Because in my judgment, looking at it, it looks like they should be working on a plan right now. Based upon the issues like they're running into welfare, where when they get to a certain threshold, if that number holds, I'm pretty sure that's the same for ecology, whatever sewer system. That when you get to that kind of percentage of usage, you need to be, planning the next.
So you mean beyond the plan that they're in. They should already be working.
Yeah, right,
Construction.
right. Right, in addition to the plan that they're working on.
Yes.
Which hopefully those will sync up somewhat too. Anything else you guys have to say about that?
I'm good.
Okay, I will take, if you're okay, to take some public comment. Yeah, public comment, yeah.
Do you guys wanna say anything?
Well, you just gotta consider that all the traffic that is going through there constantly.
Yeah.
Is something's gonna happen, someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah,
I mean, you cannot drive through that town anymore. I mean, just bumper to bumper and people are walking on the roads because there's no.
Yep.
No else. So instead of talking about it, they gotta do something about it.
okay, we'll have, if you want, we'll have people testify at the mic, that way we can get it all recorded. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
Okay, Barry Betzinger again, Alan. I'm truly. I'm so old, I don't, I don't feel bad about saying things that probably wouldn't have said 20 years ago, but. I'm really saddened by seeing this. I don't understand. How we can put another double the population basically by 2045. And not keep Allen from becoming a Belfair. And honestly, honest to God, I know it takes years to build roads, to build infrastructure and everything else. That's only 20 years down the pike. The Belfair bypass has been on the, talking about for 40 years probably. And I don't want to see Allen turned in, well, I'm not going to be around, but I don't want to see Allen turned into a Belfair. And Jeff, I know, this is nothing personal at all, but, the ACA has pretty much recognized or want like a, we're not a business town. We don't want to be a Belfair, but we do want to be known as a recreation town, somewhere where you can go and you can do different things recreational. We have water right there. I mean, there's tons of people that come and love to use the boat ramps and the park and things like that. There can be other things developed. We don't have a community center, which we've been trying to look forward to for the future, for conducting all of the meetings and different events we have out there. Allen Days, if you ever gone through, you can't hardly get through Allen. And that's how it's going to be if we don't do some of the infrastructure before we get more people. And I'm saying, the people need a different way than Highway 3 if we're going to double the population. And I know that Randy has suggested a long time ago, Razor Road, I believe, will come very close to where the new Belfair bypass is going to start about back by the high school there. And the Razor Road is a beautiful road, very well, there's no traffic on it, and it goes clear down to Mason Benson Road, I believe, as a bypass around Allen. I mean, that's what we're going to have to be talking about if we get so much population, so much more population. And you got to remember the commuter traffic that comes from Shelton, that comes from all over the place, and commuter traffic just adds, you know, a huge amount of cars every day. I would like you to come out in the summertime sometime. And with you know, and I'll park my cars and stuff up by the little church on Highway 3. And you drive into the park where many people and children go. And try and get out of that intersection when people are parked right next to the road for 30 or 40 feet coming from Shelton. Honest to God, you can see from here to the door over there. And when they're coming through at 30 miles an hour or 35, you know, sometimes we turn right and just stomp on the gas trying to make sure we can get out and go up the hill if we want to. So I don't know. I'm just saying that, you know, if we're gonna supposedly grow another amount of people in Allen, this stuff needs to be way in place before that, because commuters, you know, if you've ever, I challenge you to commute from Allen to Bremerton, you know, and see what a mess it is, especially in the summertime. We've been stopped clear up by the airport and rolled into Allen, you know. We've been stopped up on the hill before Belfair. Sometimes it takes a half hour to get through Belfair, okay? So I'm sorry, I just have to say it. And it doesn't hurt me.
No, appreciate the comment. Thank you. Any other comments from the public in the room here?
Yeah, growth. I'm Don, and I've been living in Allen for about 14, 15 years now. And traffic has gotten so bad that when you go down the hill to 3, you'll sit there anywhere from 1 to 5, 6 minutes, and by that time, you're just so frustrated you get out in front of everybody. You know, close your eyes and go. And the other problem is there's no sidewalks. You've got businesses from both sides. They're actually walking up and down alongside the road where cars are going through at 35 miles an hour. Should be, I would say 25. We'd be happy maybe with 30, but 35, come on. But you guys don't realize that unless you go up there and camp out for a day and see what's really going on. And that's all I have to say. We need something done now, not in 10 years. And something's gonna happen, and then you're gonna say, oh, what it could have, should have.
Yep.
And so that's it.
Thank you.
What was your last name?
Dawn, Daun.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Anybody else in the room? Anybody, Stan? You guys got his hand up.
Yeah, Stan here. These fellows that were just speaking are definitely correct. You guys brought up the traffic signal at the bottom of Lakeland Drive. Well, my father bought that property in 1981, right down there at the base of the hill, and ever since when he first bought that property, they first talked about putting a warning light just to reduce traffic. It has then since moved on to we need to put in a light and all that. I don't disagree with the lowering the speed limit to 25 miles an hour through the town. I don't think that's a bad idea. I truly think that roundabouts, a traffic signal at the base of the hill with a roundabout going out of town would be the absolute best thing that could happen to this town. I think that the second phase of the Belfair bypass that's going to go out towards Benson Lake, I think we're going to have that'll be another 40 years down the road. I don't really anticipate that going on. So what I think we better embrace the fact that Allen is going to be the only town between Gorst and Shelton, and Highway 3 is going to go right through it. We should probably embrace it, but we should probably look at reducing speeds and putting in roundabouts and start to keep people safe. And that's it. I think everybody's on the same page that we need to do something, and I think those are reasonable options: roundabouts, lights, sidewalks, and safety. That's all I got.
Thank you very much. And anybody else, I guess?
Just a question
Yeah.
without getting
Yeah.
out. How can we get, I don't think enough people in Allen have seen this. How can, other than the ACA people, I can get those people together and Richard Bell will help me. But how can we get enough people to look at this and look at the numbers that you're talking about? So that you get more of a percentage of actual Allen residents that commute every day and things like that.
Right.
I mean, I'd go door to door to help. I mean,
Years ago, now we're talking 25, almost 25 years ago. One way we got people to the meetings is we drew a map. And
I thought it'd be free beer.
well, that would work too, but we had to keep it level headed.
yeah,
But what I found out is that if you produced a map that of the area and talked about areas, all of a sudden you got people coming in and said, or yeah, or what have you. As far as the transportation side, my experience, the planning advisory committees is kind of like I'll say working the comprehensive side. I mean, that's what we're doing right now, but I'm saying work more of the zoning and things of that nature. But obviously, transportation is an important part of it, and part of that's through, what they call TIPCAP, which is a Transportation Improvement Committee. Managed by Public Works
mhm.
and held out there, at least, it used to be held at least monthly, so.
But you can't do anything much with Highway 3 unless the state, pays and agrees with it. Whereas Razor Road, if you wanted to open that up.
I would recommend, just participate a little bit about it, is, talk to Loretta or Mike Collins about it.
Mhm.
And because there was a point here 6 years ago where the state was considering partnering up and working some of those types of things like that. In fact, that's why they're talking about, Pickering. That's a state and a county type situation. So the county, at least from my recollection, was starting to engage with the state on some of these, because basically they had like several different points. One was in Allen with North Bay Road and Highway 3. Another was with Pickering. Another one was the Johns Prairie. That wonderful road that comes down.
Yeah.
So at least the state was starting to work with it. Where it went, I do not know.
Yeah.
So. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I'll shoot some of the linkages that I saw that seemed to be consistent to staff. As far as our question, more of a procedural, when we send in stuff like we did, like we were gonna talk about the Allen plan, or we're supposed to, at least at that special meeting, but different parties had not gotten into it or what have you. And then we sent in comments. Will those comments get disseminated, or how does that work?
You get those, didn't you include those comments in the?
Well, please.
Cause I didn't see anybody else's. I know I sent something in, but I don't know if others got them. Because people will be ready for things like you said.
Yeah.
If it's, as long as it's not crossing the boundaries of creating a situation for, meeting, that issue. I would like to see those, get disseminated so that when all of us come to the table, we're all we may not be thinking the same, but at least we see similar comments from various members.
I'm just checking to see actually.
I didn't get them, I just have the comments from the forum.
Okay. With the meeting invite, you didn't send the comments from you.
I don't have it.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe
Yeah.
do that between now and the next.
So if you guys have additional comments too, from the last one.
But you still have ours.
Yes.
If you hit those and these, wait
Yeah.
for the, you know. Do you think, speaking since there are all two members here, do you think you would have any more going for staff at this point?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. Do we want to just give it a week or would a week be enough for you?
yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Maybe, give us a week from today.
Okay.
And then, if any more questions come in from, the members. Then, pull them together and then. Send them out, as long as we're not, it's not. Inferred as conducting a meeting.
And I did, I was trying to compile the ones that I did get from Aaron or Echo
Yeah.
and Randy and yourself.
Right,
So staff could respond to some of them and get, if I need any responses from Public Works or anybody.
Sure.
So, so yes, if you do send any additional by the 24th, I will compile it as well. I will attach the original as well.
then at least there's a chance and then it might go quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Go
can
low.
do a matrix to make it.
Yeah, that's handy, I'm not setting up as a matrix, it's just a list, but.
Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, I can set up it as a matrix and then just attach
Yeah.
the original. So
Since you can throw in it up, document, that's fine.
that's fine. Okay.
Did you only get about 10 responses to this survey?
It wasn't many. Yeah. I don't remember the number off the top of my head.
It was more than 10.
The four question survey.
Yeah. It seems like there are about 10 answers on each one, so.
They may have, if they were similar, then they
Yeah.
have groups.
Just have- okay.
Yeah.
I have the
Yeah,
regular ones from the meeting still, and then we would have the online ones. Yeah, there were more
Yeah,
than 10,
there were.
but they were pretty repetitive.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's why they do it.
Anything else? Okay, anything else to go to the order? I'm not saying that. But you came down and most. What's that for adjourn? You didn't come together either.
I'm moving, sir.
Anyway, okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Robert.